Good morning, everyone. I call the October 21st, 2020 Commissioners Meeting to order. Today, while we certainly enjoy seeing veteran Don Bradley, today we're joined by veteran Paul Johnson, who's a veteran of the Navy and is an active member of VFW 7415, which is in New Cumberland, to lead us in the pledge, and our county engineer, John Klinedinst, to lead us in the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you join me in an attitude of prayer. Lord, among the extraordinary gifts from you that we do appreciate every day, we thank you always for our power of self-governance. And we thank you for providing those willing to assume the responsibility of governance at all levels on our behalf. As we approach the election of candidates during these turbulent, divisive, and angry times, we ask that you watch over all of those involved in the process. Those responsible for managing the elections, from staff to volunteers to poll workers to observers. The candidates who put themselves in vulnerable situations regardless of the outcome, and those exercising their rights of self-governance by casting their vote. We ask that you encourage participation of your people in the governance process, put love in the hearts of all, and provide safe passage during the election of our leaders. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4 on the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through C, as listed below.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.
I make a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between the County of York on behalf of the York County Prison and Spring-Spray Township Police Department, York, PA, to set forth the capability of Spring-Spray Township Police Department to provide services and assistance during institutional emergencies.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This was something that was discussed at the prison board and recommended for approval.
Great. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
I make a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between the County of York on behalf of the York County Prison and Wellspan Health, York, PA, to provide support for improved transition of reentry inmates referred to Wellspan Health Special Programs Team by York County Prison for the period of August 1st, 2020 to August 31st, 2021.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7.
I make a motion to approve a contract agreement between the County of York on behalf of the York County Prison and Swank Motion Pictures, Inc., St. Louis, Missouri, to provide copyrighted motion pictures for inmate viewing. Total cost is $9,082.50 for the period of October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021. It's paid from the Inmate Welfare Fund.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8.
Make a motion to approve a contract agreement between the County of York on behalf of the Treasurer's Office and the Office of the U.S. Trustees, Washington, D.C., to provide meeting room space for the Office of the United States Trustees in York, PA, to conduct Section 341 meetings of debtors and creditors for a total cost of $30 per meeting, not to exceed $1,440 for the period of October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
And I know this was submitted by Barb, and Barb, I think we do this every year. And what is the location that they meet at?
They use conference rooms as assigned by the court administration office. So this is an ongoing process, and this is just a renewal so that we can bill them in upcoming use.
Okay, good.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9.
I make a motion to approve a contract between the County of York on behalf of the Sheriff's Office and Permitium LLC to allow York County citizens to apply for a Pennsylvania license to carry electronically for the period of 3 years, paid for by the applicant at no cost to the County of York.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10.
I make a motion to approve a contract agreement for the following qualified contractor to provide weatherization services for the York County Weatherization Program, Clear Result Consulting, Inc., for a term effective July 1st, 2020 through June 30, 2025, with the 2% pricing increase effective annually July 1st of each consecutive year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11.
I make a motion to approve an agreement on behalf of the York County Treasurer's Office and the Pennsylvania Game Commission to appoint the York County Treasurer as an issuing agent to sell hunting and fur taker licenses and to perform other related functions, including the issuance of various permits and drawing applications for the period of 5 years, with the agreement continuing annually thereafter until termination, and otherwise the treasurer to sign all documents related to the agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Barb, I know this is your area. Is this just a continuing agreement that's done every 5 years?
Yes, actually, they are updating the software. The Game Commission and the Fishing Bureau use both the same system, and they are upgrading it, and it is long overdue, so we're excited about this.
When it says fur taker, what all does that include?
So if you are a hunter that happens to trap animals, that's fur taker.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Barb. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12.
I make a motion to approve a purchase between the County of York on behalf of the 911 Center and Global Data Consultants, Mechanicsburg, PA, for the replacement computers for the 911 floor computer aided dispatch positions for a total cost of $20,078.82 under a PA CoStarz contract.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13.
I make a motion to approve a contract change order number 5, final, from J.D. Ekman for a net decrease in the contract price of $16,561.37 and authorize the signature of the President Commissioner for the rehabilitation of County Bridge number 274, Singer Road, over the Heritage Rail Trail in New Freedom Borough.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
I see John's here, and you don't have to come up, but we did have an opening event for this we all went down for. So this is a change order after the fact?
Yeah, I would just point out this was the bridge that the commissioners came down to for a ribbon cutting when we first opened it. And this is the closeout of the contract, so it's final change order. And I would reinforce the point that it is a decrease. Not an increase.
We like that decrease.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14.
Motion to approve the release of funds in the amount of $24,924.90 to Farm and Natural Lands Trust of York County for the acquisition of a conservation easement of 32.5 plus or minus acres in Cadorus Township, owned by Ted B. and Ann R. Druck.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. I know we're joined today by President and CEO Sean Kenny of the Farm, Land, and Trust. He's going to make a few comments about motion 14, 15, 16, and 17.
Great. So I'll start with 14. Thank you for having me. It's been a while since I've been here. If you'll notice, we have a new logo on our sheets, and we have a new office location down at 350 North George, which will be adjacent to the new rail trail and right by the creek. So come down and visit me. I'm lonely. I'm the only one in the office. You can keep a whole floor away from me if you want. That's fine. So this first property that we have in Seven Valleys, many of you know Ann Druck. This is her and her husband, Ted. They bought this farm. It is tried and true all ag, and they're building their dream home, hopefully anyway, their dream home or a home for themselves on the property. It's immediately adjacent to another one of our preserved properties, a rather large one, and there's also a number of properties in close proximity. So it's a nice addition as we're down this way, building our holdings down in Hovis Township. So we're pretty excited about this one.
Maybe for the public, and I know you have 4 here, maybe a little bit of explanation about the conservation easement and what it actually means for the property and the future use of the property.
Great. Be happy to. So what a conservation easement does, it permanently restricts future building on the property. So whether that's through subdivision or actual building. In the case of property under, say, 50 acres, it limits it to 1 residence. Unless there's 2 existing or a reason that they'd want an additional one. Sometimes we'll go up to 500 acres with just 1 residence. So that's a permanent deed restriction. We extinguish the building rights and we co-steward that easement on the property. We also protect agricultural soils and environmental features, mainly waterways, steep slopes, wet areas, things like that. So it carries on from property owner to property owner.
So if the property's sold, it...
Correct.
Okay.
If they decide this isn't where they want to live, the next person can come in and build their home there, but they won't be able to build 30 homes there.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Want to go through the rest of them?
I'll do it after each one if that works.
That sounds great.
Just-
Okay. So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15.
Motion to approve the release of funds in the amount of $57,467 to Farm and Natural Lands Trust of York County for the acquisition of a conservation easement of 94.7 plus or minus acres in Dover Township owned by Dean E. and Vicki E. Smith.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Back to Sean.
So when we initially started working with the county on the bond issue, which I believe was over 10 years ago, these were the final applicant, and they didn't get in because we ran out of funding. So we kind of put them on ice for a number of years. They've worked on this property. It's turned into a beautiful piece of ground. They've worked with the Conservation District on a CREP program. It sits away from the road. There's some development on the front, but it's visible from 5 different roads, and it's a beautiful farm. Again, it's over almost 100 acres, 88% ag soils, and there's a waterway on it as well. So we're glad to finally get this one done because they have been patiently waiting for us. So
Good.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 16.
Motion to approve the release of funds in the amount of $48,007.38 to Farm and Natural Lands Trust of York County for the acquisition of a conservation easement of 69.05 plus or minus acres in Chanceford and East Hopewell Townships owned by North Muddy Fish and Game Association.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second.
So this goes back 10 years, probably from the start of when we initially worked on this one. Again, goes back to that initial bond. We did previously purchase an easement on the other portion of the property. This is adjacent to, I believe, 2 additional Farm and Natural Lands Trust properties. And there's an additional property adjacent that is going to be in the top 5 for next year for the Ag Preserve Board, which we intend to preserve the balance. This one's a little different. It's very wooded. Beautiful property, has a lot of rare trees and things like that. Has, I believe, over a mile of north or of Muddy Creek as well. 1.5 miles, actually, and Rambo Run flows directly into it. For those of you who might have been around, we had our annual meeting down there. It's a beautiful place. It's a private fishing club, but again, going back, anytime that a nonprofit private organization would sell the property, the easement would carry to future owners. In total, we have probably about 600 acres contiguous once the other property is done next year. So it's a pretty big area and very environmentally sensitive. Our landscape architect who does our plant inventory was absolutely blown away at some of the trees and shrubs and things growing down there, which are pretty rare. So But don't go down there and try to steal them, please.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 17.
Motion to approve the release of funds in the amount of $29,546.60 to Farm and Natural Lands Trust of York County for acquisition of a conservation easement of 39.65 plus or minus acres in East Manchester Township, owned by Jody and Cecilia Bergstresser.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second.
So real quick on this one, they purchased this property a number of years ago. They live nearby. They've taken it on as a family project. It was pretty neglected over the years, some decent amount of development to one side of it. They've kind of worked on it over the weekends and things. They've been cleaning it up. As you see in the pictures, they've been keeping bees there. They've really taken care of the barn, and they're in the process of demolishing an old house there, and their plan is, again, to build their dream home eventually there, as the whole family's been working on it and moving forward. So it's pretty close to several rather large properties that we have preserved, and it's very close to the river as well.
Great. Any further discussion?
Yeah, one question, and this is the last one for you, but you talked about a person waiting maybe 10 years from money to be available from a bond issue now. Do you have a big backlog of properties that want to be in the system, and how does it work as far as prioritization?
There have been people that we've talked to. I've been with the trust about a little over 12 years now. There have been people that we've talked to since the start, and it's a mix. Like this year, we've done really well because people have more time at home, so they're checking things off of their to-do list. And then some people, we still don't have enough money for what they prefer. They like our easement against the county's easement, or they'll never qualify for the Ag Preserve Board's easement. So it's a matter of timing. A few years ago, we worked with a gentleman named Morton Keiss, who has since passed away, and his initial application that he brought me was from the York County Farmland Trust, which was 1990 to 93, and he asked if he could use that application, and I kind of laughed, and I said, well, I think I was in junior high then, and we actually let him slide on the application, but we did get the property done. That one was 180 acres up in Dillsburg, and it was a beautiful property. And that was a paid easement that we did in the last few rounds. So we do have several landowners that we're working with already for next year. And these properties actually put us over our goal of 1,000 acres a year, and we're pretty close to lining up 1,000 for next year already, in addition to possibly getting some done this year, which the clock's ticking, but we'll see. Sometimes we get a phone call even in November looking to get a property done. So we prefer to get the phone call in September if anybody's watching and wondering.
And Mark, maybe you can talk, we have the open space funding now, so talk about maybe the dedicated stream.
Yes, that's what's really allowed all of this to happen, has been the dedicated funding for the land preservation.
Yep. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good
but
work.
we would not be at our 1,000 acres if not for the funding. So we are very grateful for our relationship with you guys.
Good.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We thank all four of those families and individuals for their willingness to do this and preserve some of our farm and natural lands. Item number 18.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2020-31 on behalf of the Community Development Department of the York County Planning Commission, authorizing the following additions to the activities included in the York County Community Development Block Grant Program funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Washington, D.C., and as approved in the 2018-2019 annual action plans as amended and listed below.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 19.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2020-32 on behalf of the Community Development Department of the York County Planning Commission to approve the following changes to activities funded through the Community Development Block Grant Program, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Washington, D.C., as approved in the 2019 York County Action Plan as amended and listed below.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 20.
Motion to approve tax refund register 2020-17, authorizing payment of the York County real estate tax refund.
Number 21.
Motion to approve the check register for the week of October 21st, 2020, totaling $9,309,590.75.
Second motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 22, there were no executive sessions conducted between our last meeting and this meeting. We'll move on to other business. We do have several things to discuss today. Certainly, a standing agenda item is update on CARES funding, and we're joined by two esteemed individuals today. So I will let Silas Chamberlain come first, who's been giving us an update on the broadband pilot project and the broadband feasibility study.
All right, good morning, thank you.
Morning.
A quick update this week, although we've done a lot in the last 7 days. Yesterday, we had a construction kickoff meeting for the pilot project with vendors that are going to help with the project, along with Mark Durr, myself, and a couple others from the county. 10/22 and 10/23, which are Thursday and Friday of this week, the engineering and construction teams will be out in the field on the corridor itself, doing some exploratory digging, looking around, getting a sense for the project. And then next week, probably Wednesday, will be the first day that construction crews are out in the field. The first part of this process is do a rod and reel of the existing conduit, figure out which portions, because that's where construction would begin first, so they'll be out in those areas. We are coordinating with county parks and the Public Works Department. So in addition to the safety signage and the controls that Henkels and McCoy would typically have out on a construction site, we'll also be installing some signage at access points to the trail, notifying trail users that in the next 2 months they can anticipate at periodic times construction and some restrictions to use and even some trail closures. We created a landing page on the Economic Alliance website, so yceapa.org/fiber is where we'll be listing construction updates, a timeline, and trail closures. And then those trail closures will also be shared on the county parks website and Facebook page, and also the same with the York County Rail Trail Authority. So hopefully the public and trail users who love their portion of trail and are used to getting out there and running or biking will at least have a heads up that there's going to be a temporary disruption, and we'll be posting up to the minute, information that we have to share as it becomes available. Other than that, we're going to look forward to next week when we really get the project underway.
Great, thanks so much. Any questions for Silas? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're also joined by Jenny Engler. She's the CEO of Family First, and she is spearheading the efforts around a feasibility study for a countywide health department. So thanks for joining us today, Jenny.
Good morning. Thanks for allowing me a few minutes on the agenda to provide an additional update on our work. We had a successful launch of the Blue Ribbon panel last week, near perfect attendance, active participation, homework that focused on getting more input from folks around the strengths, weaknesses, and threats and opportunities, that information of people's assessment of kind of their view of York County and using that SWOT analysis. That information will be leveraged into the plan to help create our options and potential for a countywide health department, specific to COVID response in 2021, as well as thinking of a broader public health response for 2021 and beyond. If you remember, this plan and proposals will have two connected but really separate segments, specific to COVID and then broader public health response. The team completed an in-depth, almost 8 hours total, interview with our first comparative jurisdiction, and that was the Carroll County Health Department. They were extraordinarily generous with sharing information, knowledge, experience. A majority of that time was spent understanding their response to COVID and their plans for 2021, and as well understanding their structure, their functions, priorities, and partners that they deploy to conduct their ongoing work. Interviews with the state of Pennsylvania and the city of York will be conducted before the end of this week, and then Allegheny County interview will be conducted, I believe it's the end of next week. They are scheduled. We also have, at this point, 25 key stakeholder interviews scheduled before the end of the month, with an additional 20 to 30 that are just in the scheduling process. And we have 6 focus groups on the books, with another 10 to 12 focus groups being planned and organized. Our consultants, HMA, have reviewed national best practices and are continuing to develop the potential model based on the 10 essential public health functions. That's a commonly used model in building and understanding public health response. That information will be shared next week. October 27th is the second meeting of the Blue Ribbon Panel, and we'll really be coming up to speed around responses and learnings, best practices from around the country. Again, specific focus on COVID, and then framing all of those conversations more broadly. The last update is that HMA has produced a community survey to allow us to really push out through whatever forms people would like to participate in this survey through. We have identified several entities that will be pushing out that survey to get broad community input, and we'll also be coming back to you when that's finalized in the next week to 10 days to see if the county can help us in any ways pushing out that survey so that, again, we get as much broad input as we can to this process. So that's our update over the last 2 weeks, and look forward to continuing to update you on this project. Are there any questions I can answer?
Yes, I have one,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
What was the determination, or how was the determination made to select the individual entities that you're reviewing their procedures and policies, Allegheny County, Carroll, so forth?
Sure. So we have the 3 comparative jurisdictions. We had a set of criteria. There were 10 or 12 criteria that we wanted to look at. York City was really one that I'm not sure we evaluated the criteria against. We certainly wanted to understand what the structure was within York City, again, COVID response, and more broadly. As one of the goals of the plan and study is to understand how this has the potential to be a countywide health department. Our goal is not to, in the end, have a recommendation that includes the City Bureau of Health standing alone and then a larger county health structure. We want to really see how these entities can be linked together potentially, and the benefits and challenges of that kind of linking. When we looked at Allegheny, so part of those criteria, we're looking at folks who were functioning under the 10 essential 21st century public health criteria, and that's been established by the CDC, and again is widely used throughout the country as kind of a benchmark for public health responses. So we looked at each of those 10, and we wanted to have a comparative jurisdiction within Pennsylvania because we do have specific Pennsylvania legislation and criteria. Allegheny County has had the longest county health department in the state of Pennsylvania, longest running. So they have a great deal of history. They're also held up nationally, particularly as we look at their surveillance and data warehouse and the way that they're able to use data to move and improve public health indicators. So Allegheny has this longstanding history, so stood out to us as a excellent comparative jurisdiction. And then Carroll County was selected because of its again, matching as closely to all of the criteria, but because of the demographic similarities to York County. I was personally surprised when we went through the side-by-side comparison. I must not have known as much about Carroll County as I needed to, but very similar demographics in population, in industry, all kinds of criteria that really aligned with York County. And again, Maryland operates under a different structure, certainly from a state level on out, but because of both the comparable demographics and the flow between Pennsylvania and Maryland residents in that particular geography, we felt it was important to understand the response in Carroll County.
Is that information available that you would be able to send that to me?
Sure, that comparative
Yeah, how you came up with the
analysis?
determinations, what you actually used to review that, who what county, cities, or whatever that you actually reviewed. I'm just curious, I'd like to take a look at it and see.
Sure, absolutely. I can send you the criteria.
Okay, thank
and
you.
follow up to today's meeting.
Further questions? No. So it sounds like you've been quite busy. And I think it's great that you are going to do a survey that community can participate in. I think it's really important that we hear from the community. So we're happy to help in any way we can to get that
Great.
message out.
Great.
And we'll
Thank
look
you again.
forward to seeing you back here in November.
Perfect.
All right.
We continue to stay on time, on our projected timeline to date, and I would notify you if there were any changes to that.
Great. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you all.
The information that we just received from CCAP indicated that they're going to actually have a session in this year's conference on the benefits and pitfalls of county health departments.
So,
Might be-
probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I can put you in touch with the leaders at CCAP just so we have that connection there. So
Yeah, that would be
I'll make a
great
note to do that.
information. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. Thanks, Mark. Okay, real quick, just a couple other things. We wanted to publicly, today we're joined by our Chief Opportunity Officer, this is his first week on the job here, and we're really glad to have him as part of our team. So for those of you that are out there in the audience, please introduce yourself to Joe Morales after the meeting today. So we're glad to have him. All right, real quick update on elections. To date, the Elections Department has processed 58,000 registrations. As most of you know, the deadline for registration was on October 19th. We've processed over 58,000, which brings us to roughly 308,000 registered voters in York County. We have over 88,000 mail-in ballot and/or absentee requests that have been processed, and most of them are in the mail. They're ones that we got in yesterday that were being sent over today to go out in the mail. So they're on their way to voters. We've received over 22,000 of those ballots back in-house. So we know they're out there, and we know folks are checking their ballots and putting them back in the mail. I wanted to just comment again that York County, all of our 161 polling locations will be open on Election Day. We have roughly 1,000 poll workers in line to work at those polling locations, so we will be very well staffed. We also have personal protective equipment kits that are built for those polling locations. So for those of you that want to vote in person, we want to assure you that there will be a safe manner to do that, and you can go to the location that's in your defined district. I wanted to give a quick plug to the Planning Commission. We have a couple links on our homepage. They're interactive maps, so if you don't know where your polling location is, you can go to the link for the map, and in the top right-hand corner, if you put your address in there and click enter, it will pop up the polling location and the address of where you vote. So thank you to the Planning Commission for developing that interactive map for us. And for those of you watching who would like to drop your ballot off this Saturday, we will have the ballot box in front of our administrative building at 28 East Market Street from the hours of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and you can certainly drop your ballot off there. We want to remind you that you can only drop off your own ballot. So that's my quick update on elections. At this time, we would like for our friend and colleague, Michele Hovis, if she could come forward. For those of you that don't know, Michele is moving on to a new phase in her life, and the county has been blessed to have her services for 35 years, and we wanted to just pause and reflect on Michele's contribution to the county.
I don't know, do you want to read video first, or?
Doesn't matter.
I'll read the proclamation first. Yeah. Here, Michele, you want to come over here? And I'll wear my mask. I'm proud to read this proclamation for Michele Hovis. I've been with the county now 12 years plus, I guess, 10 months, and Michele has been a worker at the county for all those years and many years before that. And I can only tell you that our relationship with prior boards and with this board has been extremely an exceptional relationship, and she has done a very tremendous job. So we wanted to give a proclamation to Michele today, and I'm happy to read it. Whereas Michele Hovis has worked for the County of York's Human Services Division since October 1st, 1985, serving as Executive Director since 2012. She started working for the York Adams Mental Health, Intellectual, and Disabilities program in the mental health field. Michele was instrumental in the development of services targeted to individuals leaving the state hospitals. She also served as the first director of the York Adams Health Choices Management Unit. Michele had oversight over many programs established to create clinical, social, and residential opportunities for individuals with significant needs. She is responsible for the oversight of the Human Services Division, and she does so with the utmost professionalism and compassion. Her work with our community members and her staff provides us as a role model to aspire to. On October 30th, 2020, Michele will retire from the County of York. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of York County, Pennsylvania, would like to thank Michele Hovis for her 35 years of service and many contributions to York County government and the citizens of York County. Given this day in York in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania on the 21st day of October in the year of our Lord, 2020, and it's signed by the Board of Commissioners. Thank you, Michele, for everything you've done.
Thank you very much. It's one time I'm kind of glad to have a mask, but I want to just thank the Board of Commissioners and all the supporting departments that I've worked with throughout the years. It really has been a wonderful collaboration, and I can say that over the course of the years, I have been so blessed to have worked side by side with so many people here that have really embraced what we do in the Human Services Division. Again, I can't thank you enough. I also want to thank our on-the-ground, boots-on-the-ground workers and the department heads that we have. Those workers really have a place in my heart and always will. They save lives every day. They are out there risking their own lives, and I appreciate so much the work they do with some of our most vulnerable citizens in that community. And I also just want to say also to the consumers and families that I've worked with over the years, one of my first jobs was I worked in mental health, and I was assigned the state hospital. And so I had an opportunity to go up and work with individuals that had very severe mental health concerns. And it was one of the most probably meaningful pieces of the work that I've done throughout the year, throughout all these years. And I just want to say, I think that we could all spend 5 minutes in someone else's shoes. One of the things that I've learned is that the people and the families that we serve are so often misunderstood. They are trying very hard. And I just so much I'm thankful for the support everybody has given so that we can have a stronger community. So I will miss this. It has been a hard decision for me, but 35 years, I think, it's not the worst time to move on. So, but thank you again. I very much appreciate the collaboration.
And we have just a real short video to share.
Okay, thank you.
Trying to keep this under 2 minutes, which I was able to do, but let me just say that 35 years of waiting for this to open, 35 years of time. We could make a 24-hour long video of people to talk to, and why is this not opening? Oh, it is open, so it's open like 25. Usually it's sorry, let me get some. Sorry, we're muted. Are we?
I wish you well and the best work with you. I've been in awe of the amount of hours that you've spent and the dedication that you've given to our office. I wish you well and the best retirement to hope for.
Hi, Michele. We've known each other since 2001 when I came to work for you at Health Choices. It was getting started and we were learning together. I really enjoyed working with you. You always allowed me freedom in doing my job. As long as the work was done precisely and on time, then you were happy. You have a great work ethic that inspired me. And thank you for your guidance. Congratulations, Michele. After giving your county your best for all this time, it's time for you to relax a little.
Michele, it's been an honor and privilege to work beside you as the Assistant Director for the last 8.5 years. I have learned so much from you. You have been a mentor to me, and I appreciate everything you have done for me. I will miss you very much, but I wish you the very best in your retirement.
Professionalism, guidance, caring, compassion, and understanding. This is Michele. This is a great leader. May you be proud of the work you have done, the person you are, and the difference you have made.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. It was good to work with the ladies in the back, too, and everybody. So, all right.
Okay, on that note, we'll move on to the period of public comment. Hearing none, if I could have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned, and we will move on to salary board.
I make a motion to approve the positions, salaries, hours of work, and fringe benefits as provided by existing collective bargaining agreements or as set forth in York County Employee Handbook or York County Policy Manual for the following departments and row offices with no additional benefits or concessions unless otherwise noted as stated in internal salary board detail. Department 17, Information Services. Department 24, Human Resources. Department 25, Human Services. Department 28, MHIDD. Department 32, Adult Probation. Department 39, Prison. Department 70, E911. Department 79, Area Agency on Aging. Department 93, Penn State Extension. The row officers, Department 51, Sheriff. Department 52, Coroner. Department 54, Clerk of Courts. Department 58, District Attorney. And Department 59, Criminal Response Unit.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned, and moving on to retirement board.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting held on September 16th, 2020 as submitted.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, changes, modifications? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Make a motion to include the following individuals on the monthly annuity payment list as listed below: Chad E. Castle, Sheriff; James D. Dietrich, Prison; Marina A. Diffenhafer, MHIDD; Linda Ann C. Fouth, 911; Matthew A. Gebel, Veterans Affairs; Terry A. Hess, Prison; Gregory L. Smith, Maintenance; Laureen J. Wyrick, Prison.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
There were no executive sessions since our last meeting.
Any public comment? Hearing none, if I could have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned. For those watching, we're going to take a brief break to take a couple pictures with Michele and then also transition to an election board meeting. So we'll be back shortly. Thank you. I will call the Board of Elections meeting of October 21st, 2020 to order. The first thing we're going to do in the spirit of expediting those folks that are here today to be sworn in, we are going to do the swearing in first, and then we will move on to the motions on the agenda. So our Chief Administrator and Clerk will swear you in. So if you could all rise.
And hopefully you all have the sheet of paper that you can kind of follow along and read after me.
I think Joe has one.
I, and then state your name, being duly affirmed. It's your turn. Hereby declare that I will, as clerk to the Board of Elections of York County, perform my duties faithfully, honestly, and impartially, to include the processing of mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, provisional ballots, and late military ballots. I will ethically discharge my duties according to the requirements of the law and respecting the same to the best of my judgment and ability. I also affirm that I am not directly or indirectly interested in any bet or wager on the result of this election, and I will not read, write, count, or certify any return, vote, or document falsely or fraudulently. That's it. Thank you.
You're now sworn in. Thank you so much.
If you just want to sign it, if you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the motions.
Steve Ulrich, Director of Elections. I bring before the Board of Elections 2 motions to approve temporary relocations of polling places.
Okay.
And these are Spring Garden 4 and Spring-Asbury 6 for those watching. These also are posted on our website. These are 2 locations that, for certain reasons, the original polling location is unable to be open on Election Day. So these are temporary changes. Voters who vote in these 2 polling locations will receive updated identification cards. And again, this information will be posted on our website. So any further discussion? And I will just open it up if there's any public comment.
You want to have him read the motion?
Yeah, probably a good idea.
You want me to read the motion? Sure. I'll read it for the public. I'll make a motion to approve the temporary relocation of the following polling places pursuant to 25 PS 2726 for the November 3rd, 2020 general election in Spring Garden District 4, from the Grumbacher Center, York College of Pennsylvania, to the Regents Glen Box Hill Mansion Event Tent, 1501 Copper Beach Drive, York 17403. And the second one is Spring-Asbury Township, District 6, from Yorkshire Elementary School, 295 Mill Street, to Holiday Inn Express Inn and Suites, 18 Cinema Drive, York 17402.
Second.
A motion and a second. In addition, for those watching, in particular for the Spring Garden District 4 location, we will have lots of signage out there to help direct voters on where Box Hill is, so that it's seamless for them to find that polling location. Any other comment? Again, any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If I could have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and have a great day.